Hello, Widowhood. Our guest today is Mr. Tony Lynch. Yes, he is an author. Yes, he owns a nonprofit. But what you will hear today in this conversation is his life struggle that brought him to the place to accomplish the items that you may see on the surface. His journey is deep. The troubles that he has experienced, the lessons he's learned in life, and his ability to look at life in four different ways, from being the victim, the villain, the superhero, or the observer. Let's get into the conversation now.
Many people talk about the ups and downs of married life, but no one really prepares you for life after your spouse passes away. Welcome to Widowhood Real Talk with Tina, a safe place for widows, widowers, and their friends and family to talk about love and loss. Find comfort as you listen to honest conversations between Tina and invited guests who've experienced the loss of their forever partner. Share their stories of love, grief, and healing. You are not alone in this journey. Join today's episode and discover a wealth of resources and learn how to connect with others who are traveling the same path. This is Widowhood Real Talk with Tina.
Hello, Tony. Welcome to the Widowhood.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, where are you at this current moment?
In this current moment, I am in Loveland, Colorado. Beautiful Loveland, Colorado. And of course, as we were saying before, we're into Arctic winter warning. So it's negative 18 degrees with snow on the ground.
Now, is this where you're from originally?
No, originally I'm from Newport News, Virginia.
That is like right down the road from where I'm at. Literally, I'm in Norfolk. Okay.
Okay. I grew up right across the water. Like I used to fish the James River.
Okay.
I got family over in Norfolk, Hampton, let's see, Virginia Beach, Richmond, Norfolk, all of that, Chesapeake Bay. I got parent family over in Kentucky Tuck. As a matter of fact, that's where my great-great-grandma used to live, right? So yeah, all of that. Smithfield. A lot of people don't know nothing about Smithfield. I'm like, hey, y'all, Smithfield is the place that you want to go to get your fresh food. Like,
yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh. So what has been the journey from here in the Hampton Roads area to where you're at now?
Oh, man.
And take as long as you want with that. Take that to wherever you want.
Well, to really explain the journey, I have to go back to when I was 6 years old. I was introduced to a very, very dark world where the reality was that there was people capable of doing really bad things to other people, right? And at the age of 6 years old, I was molested by my neighbor's son.
I'm sorry for that.
When it happened the first time, I tried to tell someone, and no one really believed me. They were like, "Oh boy, don't nobody do that, little boy." They said, "You got to watch out for your sister." So no one really believed me. So when it happened again, I had to make a decision. I said, no more. I didn't like it, right? So when it almost happened the third time, I took a knife and I stuck it in his stomach. And I told him, I said, go ahead and scream. Because since nobody wanted to believe me, now they'll believe me. I was like, as soon as you do, my family's going to kick your butt, And I became a different kid after that. I lost the loss of innocence and everything else. And on one side, it was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, right? On one side, I'm my mama's boy. I got a sister that's 2 years younger than me. I'm the protector. I'm an older brother. I'm a straight A student in school. Went to Dunbar Elementary, Dunbar Middle School, up until Ferguson High School. But during that time, it was I was living two lives. I was literally living two lives. On one end, I'm a mama's boy. On another end, I'm a drug dealer and almost a gang-affiliated kid, and age of 11, everything just kind of blew up out of proportion, and I didn't even realize I went from selling, nickel rocks on the street to within a matter of, I would say now that I look back on it, because it was only from 11 to 13. So within that short amount of time, which seemed like it was forever. I went from selling nickel rocks to selling kilos, to meeting people that if they stepped out, if they was on a movie screen, that's the only way that I would be able to describe it. Like you see the people like the Italians, Jamaicans, and et cetera, et cetera. These was the individuals that I was meeting. The people that came down from New York, the people that came in from Washington, D.C. We all know about how all of that goes. Florida, little Haiti, we all know how that is, right? And so these was people that I knew at a very early age that was like, hey, yeah, we see what you're doing. And I was so young and everything. And but we grew up in the projects. We grew up broke, and I wanted to do something. I didn't want to be broke, right? But I knew if my mom found out, she was going to break my butt in half. So I had to kind of like maneuver that world. And there was a lot of things I did in front of her that she never even knew that I was doing. Like cars. I would have cars sitting out in front of my mother's house, brand new cars. And my mother would come home like, whose car is that? I don't know, Mom. I don't know. I'm so young, my mom was just like, whose car is this? I'm like, I don't know, Mom. And, I did be out there for a little bit. And sometimes when she was gone, I would go out and move them down the street like it was the neighbors or something. And then she turned it back around and I have them back in front of the door. And I moved the other car or something like that. Like I was that kid, right? I was like, the last thing I need anybody to do is to figure out what I'm doing, right? And then I got him wrapped up into selling guns as well, So I was selling guns to people and things like that. They finally busted me. But then again, they didn't really bust it. They didn't really bust me since they were the same ones that I was dealing with. So yeah, my mother, when she finally realized what was going on, she didn't realize the extent or the depth that I was already in. But her words to me were, make yourself a ledger and make sure you document everyone that you're dealing with. This is going to save you in the long run. I said, yes, ma'am. So she sat down with me and we made a ledger. And so when they finally did decide that they were going to try to make me the fall guy, well, that ledger came in handy, right? My mother had said, hey, we're going to make about 4 or 5 copies. So even if they take this one right here, we're going to, it's like something out of a movie, man. I was like, this does not happen, but it did. It definitely did. And I was like, wow, okay. So that saved me. And at the age of 15, I left home and I went to Washington, D.C. for 2 years from 1990 to 1992. At the age of 17, I moved to Colorado. And I would tell you, the 2 years that I was in Washington, D.C. was the best years out of my life. The best years. I mean, I didn't have to worry. There was, it was a lot of fun. I was lifting. I got into lifting weights. I was teaching karate. I was taking kung fu. I was boxing. I was playing football. I was having a blast, man, a blast. And that's, of course, at the age of 17, I had my first kid. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, we're going to, me and the girl that I was with, we're going to raise this family. We're going to raise our daughter. Unfortunately, when we moved to Colorado, it didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way at all. As a matter of fact, when I moved to Colorado, life said, hey, remember all that stuff that you got away from? Yeah, we just put you right back into a different situation in a different city. And life for the next 20 some years, been up and down, homelessness, being shot, going to prison, 1994 for a crime I never committed. Just the endless gang violence, losing friends, et cetera, et cetera. It's been a hard road and it's been a lonely road because in that lifestyle, you learn not to get attached to people, right? And the only mode that you're used to is survival. You don't know that there's another side of life and things like that. And so, I've been homeless over 18 times out of my life. And I never could understand why, right? And the journey just kept going this way and that way. And, I met some really good people along the way. met some really bad people along the way too. And I guess for me, it was just the way that it was. You ever heard that term, it is what it is? Yeah, that was me. It's like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like the first time I went homeless, I was so scared because I have no family, right? And I was just like, what do I do? Where do I go? What am I supposed to go? Right. And it was a continuous fight along the way. Second time I became homeless, like I built myself from that one, got and became homeless again shortly after that. Um, and then just living in and out of hotels, maneuvering through this world. And then eventually I just got tired. Said, I don't want to do this no more. And early, let's see, when I got out of prison in 1999, I was shot 22 times by some rival gangbangers. And that was this whole different journey in itself. I had a 2-year-old. Well, I had a my mm, let's just say I just made some mistakes. I really did make some mistakes, and
I can see it's
cost.
kind of heavy. Let pause for a moment.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I know we tell about our journey, and some days we can just breeze through it as something we've remembered, and some days we start remembering a lot of that process and what that
yeah,
looked like. And I see you right there. So allow me to pause and one say thank you for your willingness to share. Thank you for your willingness to be transparent. And I'm going to pick up where we're at, but I want to shift for a little bit, just a little bit of a diversion. If someone is listening to this conversation and they're a parent or an uncle or older sister, can you provide them some things that they should be looking out for if they have a hunch that someone is doing something that is involving gangs or something in dealing with drugs and they're second guessing themselves, but they feel like something's not right? Any suggestions as far as to confirm their thoughts or guidance on how they need to pursue the situation?
yeah. And there's a few telltale signs, and a lot of them are very obvious, right? The people that you suspect is in getting involved, they will change the people that they're around. They will begin to change the way that they dress, the way that they talk, their attitude towards a whole lot of other things, right? So it can go from, let's say, for instance, you have a kid who is very intelligent, um, very high potential in school. Go from, talking about math and science and, projects at school and things like that to talking about, oh man, F that dude, man, when I see him again, I'm gonna punch him in his mouth. He's never talked like that before. He or she has never talked like that before. Oh man, I'm gonna go get this lick, man. Oh, I'm gonna go listen to the names that they're calling out. Oh man, I'm gonna go hang out with little C-Mac. Or you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go hang out with, this person over here. No matter who you are affiliated with, you tend to carry that lingo along with you. And so you pay attention to those things. You know what I'm saying? Are they coming straight home from school? Are you wondering whether or not if they're at school? If you get a few phone calls from your school saying that, hey, your kid didn't show up, 9 times out of 10, they're out on the streets, right? And then the streets have a tendency, see, the streets is honest. The streets is honest. It has a strange way of telling the truth. When your kid or your loved one is out there, pay attention to it, right? And then you as the family member or the parent or the close friend, you gotta figure out how to have the conversation with them, see what's going on, see, is there something lacking, and if there is, what is it, and how can we work on it? So there's a way to bring people back in, but then a lot of times there's if a person don't want to come back in, because you got to remember the perception of gang means family, right? They're fulfilling the void that they're not getting from their immediate family, and a lot of times that can stem from unrecognized trauma. Like for me, it was being molested, and then from there I became that angry kid, and no one listened to me. So that was another thing too, listen to them. If they come and say, hey, such and such did this to me, pay attention to them. That may be the determining factor of the direction that they go in.
Thank you for sharing that. That's extremely helpful. And the point that you made, as you know yourself, is so real. The things that happen to people that are undealt with will bleed out into our lives in so many other different ways, whether it's grief, and even though someone may not intentionally put that word, but you grieved your lost innocence. You
Right.
grieved that child boy that never got to be just that person without now being impacted. And that grief started showing up in your life early in that scenario. Grieving also the adults that did not listen and take stock in your words and validate what was happening to you. And
Right.
as we continue on about where grief has impacted your life, something else you mentioned, and I don't want to just go through that. If I heard it correctly, 18 times being homeless.
Yes.
What advice would you give to people that find themselves homeless right now?
Don't give up. When we go through things like this, and it took me a long time to understand it, there's just seasons that you're going through. Although when you're going through 'em, those seasons can seem pretty long, right? It can seem like life is just being unfair to you. The other side of it, where I really understood as I got older, life wasn't being unfair. I was being redirected. Now, everybody's going to go through these things a lot differently. There's people, veterans out there that are being mistreated and people fall on hard times, right? These things are understandable. My journey was just a little bit different. The times where I lost everything, I literally have watched my life fall apart. And no matter what I did, I could not stop it. And so it was as if, well, I know it's about to happen. And I had to brace myself. And once it happened, I had to kind of just go, all right, which direction do I need to go in? And I would have to figure it out. And again, everybody's different, but this is what set me up to do what I'm doing now, because the experience through the journey and the process that I had to go through from being homeless. See, I didn't realize that when I was going through it, every time I lost something, it was removing me from a situation and putting me in another situation. Once that situation was done and was time for me to leave, then I would lose everything again. Well, after like the fifth or sixth time, I was just used to it. Okay, where am I going? And I realized that when I look back on it, it wasn't that I was being homeless. It was the people that I was impacting along the way. So life just had a strange way of taking me along the zigzag path to impact the people that I needed to impact from the experiences that I had to go through from living the life that I was living, right? So it's not. I can't view it as a negative thing anymore. In the process, yeah, I had to, because I was like, what are you doing to me? I mean, being drugged through the mud, feeling like life is just got you in a chokehold, just what you gonna do, Tony? I'm like, I'm gonna fight back. No, all that good stuff right there. Because I'm a battle dog. And what I mean by that, I'm a fighter. And so any situation you put me in, it's in my nature to fight and survive. It wasn't until I realized the process that I went through, it wasn't meant for me to fight. It was meant for me to show up. And what I mean by that, the 18 times I was homeless and was moved around and things that another required a different version of myself in order to survive those situations. See, you may go be homeless in the wintertime, right? That's going to require a whole different version of yourself and a whole different set of survival skills. You may be homeless in the worst part of your city. And it doesn't, just because you're homeless does not change the what people are capable of doing to you. Because you got to remember, when you're homeless, there's no rules on the table. They're trying to survive too. So that's going to require a different version of yourself. And then you have to ask yourself, how good are your survival skills? Well, you hone them in as you begin to go. Like I used to break into people's cars at night when it was cold and sleep in the back of their cars and be gone by the time they woke up in the morning. Right. You know what I'm saying? Jumping in, go to sleep, get out, go walk off and wander in the streets. Or, I would dive into the big dumpsters and stuff and sleep under trash cans just to keep the other homeless people from trying to do something to me, right? You know what I'm saying? Now, I wasn't afraid of that, but I was like, if they try to do something to me, I'm gonna have to do something back. At some point, you just get tired of it, right? Um, and then I became an alcoholic because I didn't realize the reality that I lived in. I had to face it, so I became an alcoholic, and that helped me cope with the reality that I'm alone.
Thank you. And those coping skills, going back to the idea of grief or whatever the trauma is that we're dealing with, we will find some way to try to numb ourselves from that reality.
Yeah.
Sometimes coping skills are healthy, sometimes they are not. But as a human being, not wanting to feel that sheer pain, we will find a way to try to turn that off.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to the idea of if we don't do it consciously and intentionally, it will happen subconsciously by any means necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you're absolutely right on everything that you just said, right? If you compile that and if you was to make a training program, you can add all of that in there because all of it's true, and it all depends on the individual that's going through the process and what does their journey look like to them. So, I can only speak from the process and the journey that I was on.
Yes.
Right. And things that I did, where if I've seen people going through their process on the path that they're on and watch their journey take them in a whole different way. You know what I'm saying? They had to go through a whole different process, and end up where they needed to end up. See, nothing is wasted. And I realize that now. Nothing is wasted. It's how you react or respond to it. Are you willing to adapt, get rid of the things that you think that you need and adapt the skills that you need in order to face the challenges ahead of you so it doesn't keep happening over? See, people can get stuck. It's easy to get stuck when you're homeless, right? Because when you're homeless or any situation as a human being, you realize that we play three different roles in our life. We either the victim, the villain, or the superhero. This is the circle that we go around in our own individual lives. When you're homeless, you're a victim. When you're trying to survive for it, you can easily become a villain, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I was that dude, like when I was homeless and when things got really bad, I would go rob someone. It was easy for me to do that, right? You know what I'm saying? I could be like, oh, why is doing this to me? Oh man, I got to do something, and I'll go out there and catch somebody and rob them, things like that. And then there was times where, in that same circle where I have a lot of female friends, and sometimes their boyfriends wasn't the nicest of people, and I would get that call, Tony. He put his hands on me. I'm on my way. You don't do that. I'm on my way, and I can become the superhero. It wasn't until I was already in my 40s where I realized there was another version of it, and I could become the observer. I no longer wanted to be the victim, villain, or the superhero. I wanted to understand. I wanted to understand my life and where did I go wrong, and what did it all mean? I was like, I need to step outside of this thing, and I need to make sense out of it because I'm tired. Tired. I'm tired of feeling like I have no direction or purpose. I'm tired of feeling like I'm fighting a fight, but I don't even know. I can't even see the enemy. But yet every time I turn around, I'm getting left and right hooks, and it's wearing me down. I'm falling down, I'm getting up, but I'm beaten, battered, bloody, but I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to stop running. I don't know how to stop fighting. I don't know who can I call. right? To explain this thing that's going on with me. So I say that to say this: everybody has their own journey. It's not for someone because I have to be careful about saying the things that worked out for me because the things that worked out for me are only personalized to me.
That is true. But what I have found, and I believe that you would agree with this, as the person that's listening to this podcast and they hear about what Tony did, it empowers them to take a nugget from your story, from your journey, and personalize it for themselves. Yes,
Yes.
we share from our own experience, but the person that's homeless, listen to this conversation, go, that guy was homeless 18 times. We haven't got to the part of the transition, but they know that there is hope. Because if
Mhm.
you're only around the same thing, you don't know how to get beyond where you're at. You have to hear somebody else that has endured, overcome, survived, and learning to thrive. That my life is just not this one season that I'm in. There is a
Mhm.
possibility for more. There is a possibility that life will be something that I'm not just existing, but I do enjoy. And what did
Right.
that look like? But the present situation can be so daunting. It can be so overwhelming that you can feel as if this is where I will be forever.
Mhm.
That and then we give ourselves head chatter and convince ourselves that this is where we deserve to be. This is where we ought to be. This is
Right.
all that
Right.
is for me until someone brings a rope and tethers us out of that situation because we're drowning and go, okay, I've been where you're at. And this conversation, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when someone's listening to this, could literally be on the street. But they may have a phone and have the ability to go, okay, and this could be their turning point to understand. So, yes, we talk from our experience, but no one wants to hear what you learned in a book. They want to know like how you made it in these streets, how you did
Mhm.
this. Because you can
Yeah.
read a book, but I want to know how that guy did this.
Mhm.
So you're tired and you're exhausted. But how do you come from that to make a change? How does that happen?
Yeah, well, that's the fun part, right? This is where the journey gets really, really interesting. So the last time that I was well, the longest period that I was homeless was 2.5 years. And out here in Colorado, there we have what you call Indian summers, where you may get a couple of weeks of cold weather, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, this winter was, after 2.5 years, this was my last winter, and I just remember it was cold, and I got nothing. I got nothing. Right, my everything I have is gone, and I got on a tank top. It's in a like almost the after the beginning of winter season. So I would say around January, like January, February, this month right here. And it's a blizzard out. It's blowing snow. I mean, it is blowing wind, howling. All I mean, it's a whiteout, and the snow is piling up. I am underneath this bridge now. Mind you, I got on the tank top. That's all I got,
Mm.
and I'm cold. I am cold, cold. Right? You know what I'm saying? And I'm underneath the bridge downtown 16 on 16th Street, and I'm down there with a few other homeless people that are bundled up and things like that. And I just remember we had this. This is like something, and I often say this. It's like something out of a damn movie. We had a little iron barrel that we had gotten wood from trees and stuff. And we had broken branches and all kinds of stuff, and we put it inside the barrel, and we got it underneath the bridge. And now we got us a fire underneath there, right? You know what I'm saying? And this other homeless dude that I was with, I'm gonna tell you, when you are down on your luck, this is when you know that you've hit your version of rock bottom. When the homeless dude that you're down there with got to give you something to keep you warm. Yeah. That man said, "Hey, young blood." I said, "Oh man, don't call me blood." And now I'm still holding on to the game mentality, although I've lost all of these things, right? But I thought about it. He said, "Hey, young blood, man, it's cold out here, man. Here's my jacket." This man gave me his jacket. He was like, man, what you doing down here, man? I'd have seen you down here for some years now. Me and this old man, we had the chance to talk. It brought a lot of things to my attention. You know, he made me feel bad for being homeless. His man, and he homeless too, but he made me feel bad for being homeless. It's like, man, look here, man. Like, why don't you got you a job? Why you hanging out on the streets with us, man? You know, well, you just gave up on life. Like this man spoke something to me that I've never had nobody speaking to me before. So the homeless dude I was with saw me down there. He gave me his coat. It's like, hey, young blood, why are you down here with us, right? The conversation was so profound. This man made me feel bad about being homeless, even though I have no family out here in Colorado, right? It's just me. I'm just trying to survive now. I've left the gangs. I'm homeless. Who are you? I'm thinking to myself, who are you to be talking to me this way? And when you're in the same situation as me, now this is what I'm thinking, but I didn't say it out loud.
But wisdom and perspective can come in from the most unexpected sources and the unpredicted time.
Right, but I didn't understand that. You got to remember, I'm young. I'm young and hard-headed, and I just left the gang life, right? You know what I'm saying? And I'm homeless. I got no pride. I got no place to go. I'm not running back home. I'm not going to run back home and cry to mama or daddy, talk about, I need you to pull me out of this. No, I got myself in a situation. I need to get myself out of it, right? You know what I'm saying? So, and that was me. That was me. No, I'm not going to run home. I'm just not going to do it. I can do this. That's what I kept saying. But when you're homeless like that, right? You know what I'm saying? You want to, but I just couldn't. I couldn't go home and tell my mama or my daddy. I couldn't do it on my own.
But if someone now asked you, they were in the same situation, what advice would you give them?
Reach out to somebody that cares, right? Reach out to someone that cares. Accept the help when it comes. You may not have to struggle the way that I did. Most of mine was choice, and some of it wasn't. Right? You know, I chose to go through my go through. I knew that for some odd reason that I had to go through it. Why it happened, I couldn't tell you. I mean, when I have my suspicions, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I can go, you know, it was the journey, it was the process that I had to go. It was all part of the story that I speak to you now. And so in this moment, I'm with this homeless dude. He's giving me his jacket. He's speaking life into me. Cool cat, man. A cool cat, right? And now we sharing a big old bottle of wild turkey, right? You know what I'm saying?
Not wild turkey. Oh, whoa, you took me way.
Look,
I remember scratching the label off. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, we had a bottle of wild turkey, right? The big square bottle, the thick glass.
Do they even sell that anymore?
Not anymore. I haven't seen it in a long time. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, that come from back in the day when they used to sell what was that? Cisco and Mad Dog 2020, the original versions.
So back in Chicago, if the gang members saw you with that and you hadn't scratched it off, it had a different connotation depending on where you were. So, okay, wow, that, woo, okay, back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, go ahead. Wow, I wasn't prepared for that trip. I didn't pack no bags. You just took me on the trip.
Right. Hey, that's all right. We'll get the clothes when we get to the destination. Okay. You know, that's all right. That's all right.
I was not ready. Go ahead.
That's what it was, man. We was drinking that. It kept me pretty warm. And now, imagine the scene, right? We got the iron. They got the metal barrel down there. We got the fire. We're underneath the bridge. There's on the left-hand side of the bridge, where the bridge goes up, there's like maybe 5-6 people sleeping in the crevice of it. Up underneath the bridge as well, you know, some people are down on the bottom where the walkway is. I know I was down on the bottom where the walkway was. I was trying to sleep up in the corners, trying to stay warm and things like that. On the outside, you can look out and it's blowing snow. It's in the middle of the night. So, you know what I'm saying? You got that dark light night. vision and everything. The snow is blowing, the wind is howling, and this is the scene. I'm laying there and I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do? I can end this. I can end this right now. Who would care?
Mm.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to sleep on it. I went to sleep. I curled up in that little corner up against the bridge and everything, you know what I'm saying? And got this man's coat and everything. And I doze off. And early in the morning, I wake up out of a dead sleep. Somebody called my name. And this seems to be the theme of it, you know what I'm saying, as I move forward. Somebody calls my name and I jump up. Don't nobody down here know me. If they did, they would definitely wouldn't be calling me Tony. They'd be calling me something totally different, right? Because don't nobody know me by Tony. They only know me by my game name, which I was slowly but surely killing that off. And I didn't even recognize that. But it called my name and I jumped up and looking around. Now, mind you, it's early in the morning and I'm looking around. I'm looking at everybody because I'm thinking maybe one of them jumped up and figured out my name and decided to give me, hey, Tony, what's going on? Nah. So now I'm standing there and the voice just said, walk this way. Now I'm turning around like, what do you mean walk this way? Which direction? I got two directions I can go in. Which direction you want me to go in? Right? So now I'm thinking I'm crazy or dreaming. And so I turned around and the voice just said, walk this way. So I realized that when I turned around, that was the direction I needed to go in. So I put the coat back on the man. Now, mind you, I'm walking around. I got on the t-shirt, short sleeve t-shirt, walking around in the blizzard, but I feel no coldness whatsoever. And I'm just walking. I don't know where I'm going. I don't, but I'm walking. I'm just walking. And it seemed as if I was walking for hours and hours on end. And I get to a place and a voice says, stop. I stopped and looked around. Where the hell am I at? I'm on a whole new other side of town. I remember where I was standing at. On the left-hand side, there was a Safeway over here. On the right-hand side, there was a little bar, and on the right side of the street, there was a little bar, and then next to the bar was this hotel. And I'm looking at the Safeway, and I'm going, okay, where do I go from here? I don't know where the hell I'm supposed to go, right? So I go and sit at the Safeway. Now I'm starting to get cold, a little bit, right? So now I'm sitting up here with my arms in my little t-shirt and everything, trying to stay warm. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how did I end up over here, right? And I'm looking at the back of this building, and on the side of the building, there's these trees over here. And all of a sudden, I'm watching people jump out of the trees and go into the building. Now I'm thinking to myself, like, what is this building? Is it like a kitchen or something? Maybe I can grab something to eat. I haven't eaten in like 4 or 5 days. I'm a little hungry. I could definitely go for something to eat, Maybe it's a shelter. Maybe I can take a shower or something. I haven't showered in probably about 3 weeks. I'm dirty. Oh yeah, funky too, Dirty, funky, and hungry. That's a bad combination right there. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I was bad. I was bad, girl. You know what I'm saying? Look, it was so bad. But I follow him. And I realized, they're going into this building. I go into the building, it's pretty warm. But they're looking at me because I got on a t-shirt in this weather. And it's still snowing. And I realized that it was a labor ready. Oh, what? Well, I'm no stranger to hard work. And I'm hungry. And I need some shelter. I need to take care of some things. Now, here's the sacrifices of it. I go in there. I ask them what's going on, how does this thing work and everything. They was like, hey, you go out, you get paid today. If you work today, you get paid today. I said, well, what's the average you get paid? Oh, anywhere from $48 to $56, depending on the job and what you're doing. I said, okay, how do I get signed up? Fill out this application, Tony. fill out the application. I put it back in there. I go sit down now. We're drinking me a cup of coffee and stuff like that. And I'm looking around because all these people are unfamiliar to me. I don't know anybody. So I'm not trying to talk to them because I'm not trying to make friends like that, right? I don't know. I don't know you, right? They call me. Hey, Lynch. Yes, yes, yes. Got a job for you. Here's your job ticket. Go link up with such and such. Go out on the job. So, all right. Yeah, I'm excited now. Right? I'm excited. Now, mind you, I'm still funky. You know what I'm saying? I'm still funky and I'm still
Some
hungry.
things have not changed, but we need to work where we at.
Yeah, we gotta show up where we show up at. You know what I'm saying? And this was the beginning. So I go out, we work 8 hours, I make $48. So I go across the street to the hotel because I'm like, how much does a room cost tonight? Well, I want to know two things. How much does a room cost tonight, and how much does it cost for a week? Because one is going to be more beneficial than the other. Now, I'm already homeless, so me being out on the streets is not going to change too much of anything. But now, if I can save up enough money to get me a weekly rate at this hotel, I now have a week to where I can sleep.
Shower.
I can take a shower. You know what I'm saying?
Safety, comfort, warmth.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So this is the way my mind is going. I'm going, okay, I'm gonna work this thing out. So I go in there and find out how much it is. Well, I don't have enough to get a nightly room, but I got enough to get something to eat. But I don't want to spend all my money. I'm at the Safeway. And back then you can buy them full rotisserie chickens for $5.89. You know what I'm saying? $5.89, right? And so I did. I went and got me and I ate it, right? And so I knew, see, I'm like the lone wolf, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stay where I need to be, closest to the resources that I need in order to survive.
Right.
Right. And so that's what I did. Even though I can't get a hotel room, I know the hotel room is across here and I got Safeway right here and I know the labor rate is right there. All I got to do is try to figure out what I need to do throughout the night in order to survive the night cold. And then I can go back in and go work tomorrow. Right.
But you've been there before and now you have hope for something to change.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not trying to move too far because I'm in unfamiliar territory. So I'm still in survival mode. My back is against the wall. So just in case, since I don't know these individuals, I don't know what their intentions are. I do not know if they're going to try to get me or something. So I have to be on red alert. Right? You know what I'm saying? Just in case if I have to protect myself. This is the mentality that you have to have when you're homeless around other homeless people that you're not familiar with.
Okay, catch this. Sometimes people feel like that in the business environment, but keep going.
Yeah, exactly. And I was trying to, because it's the same concept. So you see, the lessons that I learned there was the same ones that I learned when I started my nonprofit, which we would talk about that as well. So now I'm in this situation. Next day I go out, I make another $48. That goes on for probably about a couple of weeks.
Mm.
I've now managed to save up some money, right? I can get a hotel room. And I got a little money left over. I can buy me some underwear. I can buy me a nice pair of jeans, right? Maybe some shoes and socks, right? Maybe I can do something with this long ass hair that I got because it's nappy and natty. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can get me a comb or something to comb it all out and pull it back in a ponytail. Maybe it look like my mama's son.
Mm.
I didn't wear glasses, so I was like, I need to get some glasses. So I managed to save up enough money to do all of these things and have food. And I tell you what, when I got into that room and ran that bath water, and I sat down in that tub, it was the best feeling in the world.
Right.
Now, the water didn't like me too much because by the time I sat in there for about 10, 15 minutes, that water turned dark as all get out. Looked like I was planting some plants up in there. So I had to run the wipe it out the tub and I ran some more, right? And I got some shampoo that I'm using as bubble bath, right? You know how it goes.
You make what you make out of it, yes.
Right? What you make out of it, right? And I set it back in there, man. I'm relaxing up. And now I get out. I got to take care of myself because the bottom of my feet is raw because of the socks I had on had embedded themselves in the bottom of my feet. So when I pulled them off, it just pulled off the skin and everything. Sores all over them. It was pretty gnarly. Pretty doggone annoying. So I said, okay, clean myself up, got something to eat, and I laid in that bed, turned on the TV, and fell out. Man, it felt so doggone good, man. Took the clothes immediately after I did all that. I got up and took the clothes that I had been wearing. I threw them away. I was like, we're not doing that no more, right? We're not going to do that. I got a roof over the top of my head right now. It's just me. It's just me. So now I managed to save up that money. I managed to get the clothes. I managed to try to get myself in a little bit more of a better situation, not a stable situation, but a better situation, you know? And this is when life really, really got interesting for me. So I'm going through that. And I go out on the job. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm a worker. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely a worker, right? You know what I'm saying? So I go out on the job. Well, actually, I go back in there and they're so impressed with, you know what I'm saying, with the work that I do. Look, I got a good work ethic. I just messed up along the way, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not a lazy dude. I was just a beat up dude, right? You know? So now I'm out there working, I'm busting my butt. I go in one of these days and they're like, hey, we got a ticket for you. What about that? I know, we got a ticket for you. I think you're going to like it. I said, okay, you know, I'm willing to do whatever, right? They said, well, this ticket pays $119 a day, and it's for the next 6 months. We want to put you up here. I said, what is it doing? You're going to help build the post office down in Golden. Really? Yeah, yeah. All right. So I went from making $48 a day to making $119 a day, going and getting into a motel room. Life's starting to look pretty freaking good to me right now. You know what I'm saying? Because two of those 2 days I can pay for a week. Now I can pay this up and everything and not have to worry about it. Maybe buy a few extra clothes, maybe buy some new shoes, and et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? Kind of splurge a little bit, right? You know what I'm saying? Kind of enjoy life on a different level. Maybe I go to a restaurant and get me a nice little steak, potatoes. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. I didn't do any of that, right? No, no, no. I didn't. I did a little bit of it. I didn't do it to that extent. When I did, I got ahead of myself. I said, you know what? That bar's right there. Little drink ain't gonna hurt me. Yeah, little drink ain't gonna hurt me. I'm gonna go over here and have me a shot and maybe give me a little pint and drink on that. Maybe play a little pool, listen to a little music, maybe find me a little female or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Go out and be a man once in a while, you know? Things like that, right? You know, this is what you think about. That's when my life changed again. Because the alcoholic in me came out, right? You don't really realize it until it's already too late. And what ended up happening is that I began drinking. I began meeting different people, right? And the opportunity that was presented to me, I thought it was the best opportunity in the world. Hey, you know what? Hey, man, I got a place down here. You should come live with us, you know what I'm saying, and rent this room out. Now, when you're in a house full of alcoholics, how do you think this is supposed to work out? Right? I didn't know that, but I was like, I'm gonna take the opportunity. I'm gonna go ahead and go and do it, right? And we drank all the time. Went to work and drank. Went to work and drank. That's all we did. And it wasn't too long after that I lost everything again. Ended up going back to jail, right? Ended up going back to jail for 6 months. I get out, got nothing. Nothing at all. Luckily, I made some really good friends. You know, I met some really good people. So when I got out, I called them up and said, hey, I'm not asking for much. I just need a place to stay for a little bit. And, you know, I'll sleep on the couch, man. You know, if not, that's fine. They was like, yeah, Tony, we got you. We're coming to get you. Where you at? These people came and got me. So they took me in and helped me get back on my feet, helped me get a good paying job. I stopped drinking again. That didn't last very long either. It really didn't. It didn't last very long because one thing about the streets, when the streets want a hold of you, it has a really good way of getting you back, right? And I think that was just life's way of saying, hey, are you really wanting this life that you want? You know, that you're walking in and things like that. And I used to always say, yeah, I want it. I want it. But the first time I get the call from the hood, hey, man, where you been at, man? Oh, man, man, such and such got smoked, and you know what I'm saying, such and such is in jail, and this, that, and another. And you know what I'm saying? Now I'm thinking to myself, like, I haven't talked to these cats in years. Last time I talked to them, they pretty much told me don't come back to the hood no more. Right? I'm on my own. But yeah, as soon as they call me, I'm just like, yeah, man. Well, man, what happened with such and such? Oh, man, them fools over here at Compton, you know what I'm saying? Oh, these fools over here in Inglewood, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, what? But yeah, man, don't even trip. Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, we about to go ride on these fools, man. When you
Was
think
it
about
that family? Was it that connection, that family that just uprises in you and it feels like you're connected again? You have this family and you're not alone.
who I was. It's not even the family. It's part of who I am. You got to remember, I'm a battle dog. I'm a war dog without a war. So now you just created a scenario to where now I can go be a battle dog again.
Okay.
You just introduced a scenario to me saying that these dudes just killed my homeboys, et cetera, et cetera. I ain't even worried about the gangs. I'm going, oh, it's time to get back in action again. And that's what happened. I went, everything I had just worked for. Come on. I walked away from it and went right back to the damn streets again. Now, it's one of those things. You ever heard the term wash, rinse, and repeat? That's what happened. So I'm going back. So now I'm thinking I don't have to leave the hood no more. Because although we had this agreement to where I had to leave, they just invited me back in. But see, they invited me back in because of who I was and what I was capable of doing. Not because they wanted me back. It's because the people that was in the hood was too scared to go and do things. Right? They talk a big game. Oh man, I do this, that, and another. I don't talk. Ain't no need to talk. We here to do something. Let's get it done. And then we're gonna get it done. We're gonna keep it moving. That was me. I'm the one that you call when it was time to go to war with people. Because it didn't matter to me whether we fist fighting, a gun playing, or knife playing. It didn't matter to me. Either which way it goes, I love to play. You can't invite me to a party and expect me not to show up. You know what I'm saying? I'm showing up. You know what I'm saying? And I expect you to participate in this party that you just invited me to. Yeah. I'm that dude. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So now we show up. And you know what I'm saying? When they now realize that dark side of me is just now being released, oh, that's enough to make the average person step back and go, ooh, we probably made a mistake, y'all. He ain't gonna stop. He made a mistake. And then just like that, I was back on the streets. Yeah, I was back on the streets. And then I had to figure it out again. I had to figure it all out again. And I did. This time I developed some skills and things like that. And the process wasn't too bad this time around, right? You know what I'm saying? I met some pretty interesting cats. And the last cat that helped me get out of where I was at was a pimp. Yeah, he was a pimp, right? You know what I'm saying? That knew me from back in the day when I was out on the street. And he said, "Hey man, I can't see you like this. Come on, man. Let me get you cleaned up. Let me give you something." I said, "All right. Better than being out here." So he took me with him. Man took care of me. He put a little money in my pocket, put some clothes on my back. We traveled through many estates. Now this is that next step in my life, right? You know what I'm saying? I didn't watch them turn women. all kinds of things. Now, I've never been with all of that, right? You know what I'm saying? But to each their own, you know? And what I didn't realize is that he was giving me the game. He was seasoning me to get out there and do what he was doing, right? You know, and when you out there, you see the lights, you see, you know what I'm saying, you see all of these different things, and you know what I'm saying, you it's exciting, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you live every day like it's your birthday and every night like it's New Year's Eve. It's a party all the time. You got consistent money, but you're surrounded by beautiful women. Anything that you want and anything that you want to do, you can do. They ain't questioning. You know what I'm saying? And they putting money in my pocket too. You know, meeting different people from across the globe, man, people that you may even see in movies, you know what I'm saying? Big names that's been in the game for a very, very long time. And these guys took a liking to me. It was like, what's up with him? Oh man, he ain't with that, man. He should be. You know what I'm saying? And they giving me game. They're doing all of these other things. And I'm just like, wow. Oh. So then came a time where I realized that the pimp game was a very lonely game, right? You know what I'm saying? You only run it with people for a short amount of time. You know what I'm saying? But the pimp game is a lonely game. It's not one of those long-term games where you hang out with the dudes that they would. They were like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got to keep it moving with these women over here. So what I'm going to do, I've given you enough game. I'll put a little money in your pocket. We'll get you up in a hotel room, but you got X amount of time. You now know the game. You've been seasoned. Go ahead, use what you got. You're either going to sink or swim. You know what I'm saying? You're either with it or you're not. But you can't keep rolling with me. And I'm going to X amount of state. I would love to see you there. If not, hey, I'll see you around. Okay. Yeah, yeah. And needless to say, I persevered. I persevered. Was the worst and best decision I've ever made. I say that because I was never raised that way, right? You know what I'm saying? The best decision because I made a lot of money in a short amount of time. Worst decision because I have a mother and I have a sister that I love very much. It's conflict of interest because I wasn't raised that way. I was raised to be respectful, not harmful, to be a protector and not someone who does damage. So it took me a long time and I hit that version of rock bottom. And I gave away everything. I gave away everything. I didn't want the cars. I didn't want the money. I didn't want the house. I gave away everything. And I went right back to the streets again, with homeless again, right? You know what I'm saying? So intentionally this time, you know what I'm saying? With all the women that I had, I just separated the money, gave it to them, and said, y'all go home. I don't want to do this no more. Why? It's not right. But I don't want to go nobody. Go home. Go get your education. Use this money, go get your car, go get your house. Lord knows there's enough money here for each and every last one of you to buy your own house outright. Go do it. But as far as this right here, I can't do it no more. And I just remember my grandmother had passed away, and I remember praying to her. I said, Grandma, I said, I'm sorry. Forgive me. And my grandma said, well, boy, you had fun, didn't you? Yeah. All right. Now it's time to get back to doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I did. I maneuvered, met some new people, moved around again, ended up in a different place. And then one thing led to another. So in this process, in this little period of my life, I went back to work. I ended up getting a more of a better position or job. I was moving furniture, which led me to meeting this other dude, which led me to meeting my good friend James, which led me to he had a room in his garage that he rented out to me for $275 a month. That opened up the doors for me to meet this dude named Wayman, who had a house down in Denver that said, hey, I'll rent this house out for you for $500. You know what I'm saying? We got it has a half-acre land, dog run, you know what I'm saying, 1.5 bedroom house, this, that, another, $500 a month. I ended up moving into there, right? You know what I'm saying? So I went from doing that to doing this. You know what I'm saying? To get into this position. And then now I still have a problem because me and James, we like to drink and we like women, right? You know what I'm saying? So going out to the clubs every weekend, working during the week, going out to the clubs on the weekend, going to church on Sunday morning. That's what we did. We're gonna go out here, we're gonna have a little fun, we're gonna get drunk, and we're gonna go to church on Sunday. It's a good time. It's a good time, right? You know what I'm saying? We did. It was a good time. That's when I met my son's mother. She she was supposed to be a one night stand, but she kind of stayed around, right? You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I dig it all, man. You know, but yeah, she kind of stayed around. She ended up getting pregnant. Moved up to Loveland, Colorado. She bought a condo, and yeah, when my son was born, December 18th, it was the best time of my life, but also a very revealing time in my life because that's when I realized that the woman that I was with was a narcissist, and I didn't even know what a narcissist was at the time, but she was. She became very mentally and verbally abusive towards me. But when Jake was born, I thought it would change. It never changed. It just got worse. And so we moved through, and then finally I couldn't take it no more, and I left. She dragged me through the mud. I became homeless again because she got me evicted, and then she got me fired from 4 jobs. Had 2 of my vehicles repossessed, and then lo and behold, the good Lord said, "Thank you for your patience. I got something for you," and he worked it out. He worked it out. Got into another place. Got temporary custody of my son. Became a single father. Was raising him. Best time in the world. In 2015. Now, mind you, I'm gonna go back a little bit and fill in this little gap. So the time where all of this is going on, she is dragging me through the courts. The courts is reaming me like nobody's business. Up, down, side to side, you name it, they was doing it. They was whooping me, boy, something fierce. I got lucky. They finally caught her. Yeah, they finally caught her because of her daughter called CPS and said, "Hey, you need to go over here and check this out." So everything I've been trying to tell them came to fruition. And you know what I'm saying? They were like, "Oh, so you really wasn't the crazy one." I was like, "Yeah, that's why I kept my mouth shut. Y'all didn't want to believe me anyway, so whatever." Right. So we moved through. Like I said, I get lucky. I get into a place. I get my son, and it was supposed to be a court order to where I had him on the weekends, every weekend, which I didn't mind. I was like, "Hey, I'm a father. Let me be a father." But I don't know how to be a father because now I don't know how to be a man. You got to remember, I've been surviving my whole entire life. What I know about being a man? What I know about being a father? Nothing at all. So in that moment, I realized, and this is just for me when I come from this, I realized that I needed a mentor. I didn't have any mentors, so I looked at God. I said, "Look, you're the only one I know. I need you to guide me. I don't know what it's like to be a man. I don't even know what it's like to be a father. What am I supposed to do?" So my relationship with God began, and he began to teach me. He began to guide me, put me in situations to help me learn. He humbled me. And then my little boy saw me doing all of this, and he began to teach me how to be a good man towards him, a
So,
good
Tony,
father.
how are you able to recognize it is God teaching you and not yourself?
It's just something I believed. It's easier to believe that there's something guiding me than to think that that knowledge was there already there because
Okay.
I never had anyone teach me. I never had any examples, right? And so that was my way of saying, if I have faith in this process, because I've been protected pretty good my whole entire life, and I have to have faith in this process. And if I have faith in the process, I have to have faith that what I'm saying, that God is looking over me. He's
Okay.
protecting me. So I want to lean into him. I want to have this relationship because I no longer can do it on my own. I realized this. And when we think about if depending on what you believe or what you don't believe, I don't fault nobody for either or, right? It's just what the things that help me because if I can believe that, you know what I'm saying, that there's evil in the world, I have to believe there's good too. You can't have one without the one without the other. There's the yin and yang to it, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if I believe that there's evil, there has to be good because I was in the evil part of it. So now I'm in this part of it. And so I got to go, okay, well, let's explore this. This is unfamiliar territory. Since I don't know what that looks like, well, God does.
Okay.
Let me ask the questions. Let me learn. Let me get put in these situations so I can become a better version of myself. And I did. And then my son began to teach me. Now, when you have a conversation with a 4-year-old and he's like, hey, this is what's going on with me and this, that, and another. And the things that he's saying should be things that I should be learning from another individual. He has to get that knowledge from somewhere. I didn't teach him.
Okay.
So now I'm paying attention. Now the father has become the student. Okay, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So me and him had a really good bond. And then for the next few years, we grew. We grew. And we climbed trees together. We had father-son nights over at Applebee's and movie nights, you know what I'm saying, at the movie theater and Chuck E. Cheese days, you know what I'm saying, where, and play dates, you know what I'm saying, and shopping. And you know what I'm saying? Because he was a growing kid, so he got to get the shoes, he got to get some pants and things like that. And I wasn't rich, but I had enough to make sure that he was taken care of. Got to put food in his in the refrigerator. So now I'm responsible because I'm responsible for raising this little man. You know what I'm saying? To be a better man to me. I'm responsible for having conversations to teach him what to do when I'm not around. So I was teaching my son to live in the world without me. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the natural order of things. He's going to outlive me. I need to teach him the things that he needs in order not just to survive in the world, but to live and thrive in the world. You know what I'm saying? So I have to teach him things that I never knew.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a plant. I must water and nurture him and make sure that the fertilizer that I put on him is going to be filled with everything that he needs in order to be a good man in this world.
And speaking of that, thank you for sharing that. What type of nurturing and watering did you receive from your mother?
Well, that's my mother was a Gemini. So and by me being the oldest one, I would say that our parents do the best that they can with what they know.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was tough on me. So needless to say, I got my butt whipped all the time. My mother always told me, hey, a good man does this, good man does that, good man do this, good man do that. But we ain't raising no punks around here. So if anything ever come out, you might want to, you know what I'm saying, you're going to have to man up. That's why I realized that the word man up was real dangerous, you know what I'm saying, when I got older. Man up. I ain't no punks around here. All right? Young men don't cry. See, the ones who teach us how to be men are the women. And they have no right to teach us how to be men, especially when you don't walk in a man's shoes.
They may not have a right, but they're left with that if the man is not there.
But the problem is that when you try to raise a young man, you tend to raise them as the version of the man that you want.
Oh, no, I agree. But the challenge becomes by that man not being in that relationship and being there for their child. In that place of desertion, the woman is left to have to carry that. So so if the man was there, she would never have to have had to carry that.
But see, here's the problem. You got brothers, you got uncles, you got a grandfather. Why don't you put that little man with the men in your family?
I get what you're saying. It seems to me she's left doing the best she knows how to do.
Right.
And so it would almost be to ask her why she didn't do all those things. I have a single sister. I have friends who are single. They are doing the job that is meant for two people. They are trying to go to work. They're trying to provide godly counsel, trying to do all those different things because the other part that was there to make that child was not there. So my questions would always divert to that person that was absent, not to try to question or burden or maybe badger that person that's trying to do the best that they can because they're there then I feel like they've done a lot. The question would be, where's that guy? Where all the questions are to him, and I'm just cheering her on because she's there. So to ask her why she didn't do this and I would ask him, because why didn't he do that? Why didn't she? Because she can't get she can't carry the burden of it all, and she's there doing the best that she can. I feel like the scale is not equal in the balancing of where that goes, because there's a whole bunch over here that's absent. All of those questions go to them.
No,
because
understood. And the reason why the reason why I say that, because it took me a very long time to understand. So that's why I said now being a male who was raising a young male, I understood the importance of raising that young male. As a male.
And if you could talk about your mom, her passing, and how that's impacted where you are with the nonprofit and kind of skewed the things you're doing with that, we can move it to that way.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Well, there's a two-parter to that, right? So my son passed away first. Well, when my son was born, my father passed away when my son was 6 months old. My brother passed away when my son was 9 months old. My son passed away after a major overdose in 2015.
Hold on, you said your son, hold on. How many sons? You said son passed and then something else at 6 months and 9 months.
My younger brother passed away when so my father passed away when my son was 6 months old. And my younger brother passed away when my son was 9 months old. My son passed away in October. Well, my son first suffered a major overdose October 31st of 2015, only to have him 9 months later to pass away from unknown causes.
At what age?
That was 16.
Yeah.
July 25th of 2018, which is 2 years after that, on my grandmother's birthday, my mother passed away. So all of these things impacted me as I was,
Absolutely.
So I went through that process. I went through a process of grief that I never understood, right? You know what I'm saying? Because everything that I thought had been a lie, and everything that, all my hopes and dreams are now gone. I'm back in the world where I don't understand. And the grieving process is not what you think it is. It's not what everything that I've seen from other people, right? You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of pain. There was a lot of bad decisions. There was a lot of confusion. And then there was the final stage, which was suicide. And then the next stage after that was the gift, right? So I went through all of that, hit my version of rock bottom, lost everything all over again, right? You know what I'm saying?
Grief will do that to you.
Grief will do that. And life came back and said, hey, no, we're not done with you. We got something for you. And that's where everything changed. That's where my life was fast-tracked. This grief the grief knowledge that was there began to come out and teach me and grab a hold of me and started. It was like a computer downloads all of this information. I'm like, what in the world is this, right? And so then after that, it was a fight, because I was like, no, because life is like, I need you to do this. I'm nope, not doing it. No. You should. Nope, not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. You got the wrong person, right? And I said, no, I need you to go do that. I was like, no. So I ran from it, and it redirected me. Then I ran from it again, and it redirected me. And every time it was like this crazy waltz, right? And eventually it caught me and was like, now that I got you, I need you to do this over here. I said, oh, man, all right. You see what it is. But if I fail, you leave me alone. If I fail at this, you leave me alone. Okay. If I fail, I said, yeah. So I did. I started Memories of Us. I said, I'm going to connect with other men like myself. And I wanted to fail so much because I did not want to do it. Look, I'm gonna tell you, I didn't, right? You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand it. I was like, I don't know how to start it. I don't know how to do a nonprofit. Let alone know how to support other men while they going. I can barely support myself. You crazy? Right? We're not doing that. Lo and behold, all the information I needed was already inside of me. I just didn't know. And then it tapped me on the shoulders. It was like, hey, see that dude over there? You should go talk to him. I went to talk to him. Only found out that he was in a similar situation to me. Lost this kid. And then it was a trickle effect. I met more people who have lost their children, more men, and these men started talking to me, and I started talking to them. And then I realized that we were forming like these really great, strange relationships, right? And it was like a brotherhood. And I was like, I'm gonna do some support groups. And these men started showing up. They started talking. So everything that people was telling me, it's hard to get men to talk and this, that, and other. I'm like, well, I don't understand this now. No, it's not hard to get them to talk. They're talking. You don't understand. We all talking. Then they dawned on me. But there's no women around. Okay, yeah, we're going to do this then, right? Then shortly after that, I started podcasting because I wanted to do so much more. And I've never podcasted. I'm a shy, introverted type of guy. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be quiet and go into the corner. Right? Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me.
Oh, used to be. Okay.
Yeah, used to be, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, don't you start, don't you do it. But that's what happened. I went from doing that to coming out of my shell and hitting the ground running like nobody's business. And what I thought was a long period of time was actually a shorter period of time. And everything just kind of opened up the doors, the opportunities, the people I met, and the things I was able to do, fundraising and bringing awareness, educating other people, writing a book, movie deals, touring, guest speaking. I didn't see this coming, but I tell you what, I haven't been homeless since then, and I haven't missed a meal neither.
And I know we spent a lot of time talking about how you got here, and we may have just did this part quickly, but those were the deep roots in the story. People may just see what they see now. They may see, oh, Tony's got a speaking gig. Oh, Tony got a nonprofit. Tony's got this, this, and this. That's the leaves on the top of the tree. The root is the story, is the pain, is the place that you've been that exists long, that's still in a moment will cause you pain and think about, what I've been through. People are seeing the glitter part now, but I'm glad we had the time to spend with the part that puts you where you are today, because the rest of the story, as it is helpful, but the meaning of it comes from those experiences that you got to get to where you're at. So when you're telling another man that don't give up, you're saying it from that experience that Tony went from. You're not saying it from some lofty, philosophical, just you hang in there sort of kind of thing. You were saying that from somebody that has been through the trenches of life.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I know that if I can do it, and I'm just a poor boy from Virginia, that really was a very destructive individual. And there's people out there way better than me that are going through it. And I know if I can do it, I know that they can do it. And they can probably do it a lot better than I did. And if I can encourage them to do it, yeah, I would.
Thank you. What is the name of your book?
It's called Relentless, and it's stories of overcoming adversity. So I co-authored this book, and the book went international bestseller on Amazon. So I did it with 19 other people, and it was such an amazing book. And so yeah, that came out. That's sent them in.
I've asked you a lot of questions. Any questions of me before I give you my final two questions?
No. Actually, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me the platform to come over here and share with your audience.
You're welcome. Thank you. If you were to pick any time in your life, any age, and you could speak to Tony, what category or age would you pick, and what would you tell him?
The time when it all started, 6 years old.
Mm.
Pure version of me needed me the most. And I want to, if I can speak, and I have spoken to the 6-year-old version of me, and I told that 6-year-old version, hey, man, life is going to challenge you, but I promise you, you're not by yourself anymore, because now you got grown up Tony to walk with you. So you don't have to be afraid anymore. You don't have to be angry anymore, and nor do you have to be alone anymore. I got you.
Mm. Thank you. What gives you joy?
Serving other people. Serving other people. Helping them along the path of healing. To share what I've gone through so they don't have to struggle the way that I did. To fulfill my contract in this world, because my gift is not mine. It's for everyone else. And so that's my goal, is to give it back to them. Leave this place empty, but leave a legacy behind so that those that come behind me can be inspired to do better than me.
I will let you end this conversation however you want. Maybe there's something you wanted to cover that we did not, and I leave it to you.
There's no better way of ending it except for saying, hey, don't let the moments in your life slip by because they're challenging. They're challenging because they wants to teach you. Don't let those moments that challenge you drag you out throughout the day, because then you're going to miss everything else. And it's worth being patient for. It's worth it.
Thank you. Yes, that was quite the discussion. And I know we wrapped up quickly as far as what he did with the nonprofit and how he has taken his journey and made it helpful for so many other people. But I believe in you hearing his struggle and you hearing his challenges, that there will be something in your life that you are enduring and going through, and you will be able to leverage what he shared. You will be able to pluck out the pieces that help you learn how to keep moving on, to help you know that you are not alone, to help you continue on the path and creating your journey and your life. Thank you for being here in this conversation with us. And if you're interested in sharing your journey, please email me at widowhoodrealtalk@gmail.com. If you have topics that you would like for me to cover, please send them to the same email address. Thank you for your time and have a good day.
Thank you for spending another episode with Widowhood Real Talk. If you found the contents of today helpful, share the episode to anyone you know who may need it. Subscribe to the show and tune into Widowhood Real Talk each week. Then visit widowhood-realtalkwithtina.org to join the community and access additional resources. Remember, you are not alone in this journey.